Keep going. Oh, for some reason it cut out when I'm going to do this. There we go.
Sky in the dark before the dawn. I sit here in my room, how I sigh for the day that's come and gone. Another lonely day passes by, and a new day's coming on round midnight. It begins to tell round midnight, round midnight. I do pretty well till after sundown, when my heart is still with you. It really gets bad round midnight. That's when the memories always seem to start. Around about midnight, I haven't got the heart to stand those memories when my heart is still with you. And old midnight knows it too. Just a quarrel that we had needs mending. But does that mean that our love is ending? My darling, I need you. Lately, you're out of my arms, and I'm out of my mind. So let our hearts take wing round about midnight. Let the angels sing for your returning. Let our love be safe. Let our love be safe and sound when old midnight rolls around. was just a little quarrel that we had. I think it just needs mending, and I don't know if our love is really ending. But my darling, I know I need you. That's why lately I find you're out of my arms. That's why I'm out of my mind. So let our love take wing. Let it fly round midnight. Let the angels sing for your return. Let our love be safe and sound when a midnight rolls around.
Tiltis.
How midnight rolls around, I'll think no more about today. 'Cause in a little while this day will be yesterday. Alone at midnight here in my room, I will sit here in the gloom and let my dreams take flight round about midnight. Round about midnight. Yeah, what a treat. Thank you. Thank you.
Cool, girl. That was really nice.
That was so fun. That was a student pianist and a teacher drummer, two teachers. It was from the Jazz Institute Berlin. Thank you. Nice to remember it, actually.
Yeah, it's been a
And
while.
that's our club here,
Yeah.
the A Train in Berlin. Great club.
Okay. Yeah. It's been a while since I've actually heard you live,
Uh-huh.
I don't even
Yeah,
remember.
well, since we taught with Janice, I guess.
Yeah, that was a long
20
time ago.
years ago, yeah.
Yeah,
Whenever.
yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Judy Niemack. I've had her on before, but it's been a long, long time. So, we thought, yeah, let's talk again.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
And
She's,
I'm excited about your album.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with it. It feels good to me. It feels like I like it, which is great to like your albums.
It's pretty important.
Oh God. Yeah, it's an interesting existence that we have, isn't it? Going
It's a
on.
blessed existence, isn't it? Oh my God, I feel so lucky.
Yeah.
Wow. I was recently performing here with Kurt Rosenwinkel, the great
Oh,
jazz guitarist, and
uh,
who taught in the room next to me for many years at the Jazz Institute, and then stopped teaching and went on to only do a solo career. And we would always say, we've got to play together. We've got to play together. And I was in New York and I went to his gig at the Village Vanguard with Alex Claffey and Joe Farnsworth, very, traditional stuff. And on the break, I said, Kurt, I have 2 weekdays in May. Do you want to play with me in Berlin? He was like, sure. So, miracles happen. And we had an incredible gig, which I have to get up on YouTube. But this is the amazing thing about our lives. Really unexpected things happen musically.
I know, totally, right? Um, yeah, actually, the reason I'm going to Norway in October is that I've had this friend, he used to live here, and also he also taught in Austria with me, however many years ago that was, 30 years ago or something, when I opened AIM in Vienna, and he was the guitar teacher there. But so he hasn't lived here for 35 years, but we played together all the time. And I don't know why, I just got this inkling to, go and play with him. And then he happened to be coming here, so I arranged like a two guitar thing with Brad Rebuch and him and me. We did a gig, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember why I liked him so much.
What's his name?
His name is Wayne Brassel, and
Okay.
he lives about 6 hours west of Oslo.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And yeah, I remembered. It was like, oh, yeah, he's so great. Yeah. And I mean, our lives are so full of wonderful people and players, and we have so many chapters that we've gone through. And it's great to come across an old chapter, and and then get to work together and hang out together. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah. It's great. I just got back from doing a week in France of a workshop that I've done since I think 2018 was the first year.
Uh,
And we skipped 1 year because of COVID. But I mean, this is a workshop for non-professionals, which has been a learning experience for me because I worked with the highest level of students in Berlin at the conservatory and in Spain at the other conservatory. And now to be working with people my own age who've had other careers their whole lives, very brilliant people who just want to go and play music for the joy and fun. And they want to get a little better, but they're not going to be like, oh my God, I don't know what a flat nine is. They just don't care. They just want to have a good time. And it's fantastic. And through even that's only 6 years, but we've developed nice connections and between the teachers as well. So I often play with the teachers in London because that's where they live. And all these British people come over to France and take the workshop.
oh, that's cool.
Anyway, I was thinking about the Janice Borla workshop and how I did it for 20 years every summer. And that's where we met. Or maybe we met through VR in Pasadena
I think we
first.
met through VR. Yeah.
Yeah. And I might have probably recommended you to Janice because she was always asking me who to bring. So it could be. Anyway,
Yeah.
I know you were a great addition and we had a wonderful time there with her. in
Yeah,
those years.
Jay was there one of the years.
Yeah, Jay ended up being there more because I was doing other stuff. And she's such a perfect third person in a team. Or
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
For
yeah,
me, she's still around,
me too.
Whew. Yeah, great. We were lucky to have her.
Yeah, we were really lucky. I have greetings from a few people. Eric Goldstein,
Oh, nice. Eric, hi.
yep, and guitar player from well, he's from here. Taylor Hatch, she's really good, and Joyce
Ooh.
Glasgow from Seattle.
Oh, Joyce, hey.
Yeah. So, yeah, so well, gosh, we've known each other a really long time, and I always knew you to be a real quality-minded musician and human, and lots of teaching and lots of adventurous singing, and and then you did kind of the ultimate by living in Berlin and working in Berlin and working in Spain. And how many years did you do that?
I commuted to Spain for 13 years, every 2 weeks during the teaching year. It was killer. I counted up that I took 750 flights. I'm sorry to say. That's not including the flights back to the States like 2, 3 times a year and all around to do gigs. But that was my life. It opened itself up to me, and I started a whole vocal jazz scene in Spain that that was about being educated with the methodology, and my students there have gone on to teach, and in Germany my students became the next professors, and I feel satisfied and happy about that.
Yeah, yeah, that's
I've
great.
just done music my whole life. I mean, I feel really lucky
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that, and I need that energy like daily. So it works for me to do workshops and teach because I'm with other singers, and or gigging of course is great, but it's teaching is also great.
I love teaching. I used to teach at the LA College of Music in Pasadena. It was just getting there that I didn't like. But once I was
Oh,
there, I was great. Well, you too, right? You've all those flights and stuff. But the teaching itself is so fun, you know.
yeah, it gives you so much energy, and it teaches you so much about yourself. I mean, that is
Yeah,
what everyone says, but it just is the bottom line truth. It
yeah,
teaches you about how to use energy and force or not, and power, and how much power you have as a teacher, and what do you really want for the student? You just want them to be better and do it right? Or, or do you want them to like grow and unfold and find their way? And it's, it's an amazing teacher education system.
yeah. It's really great. Have you had, well, not ever, but have you had too many students you didn't really appreciate?
No, no, not at all.
Oh, good.
No, I've had all great students, and high level, high level. And
Yeah.
now that I'm retired from that scene, I'm having people who are not at a high level musically, but they're wonderful people, and it's fascinating because I never really worked with people who didn't know much about music, and so
Yeah.
it's making me go back, like, let's see, I learned this song when I was 17, now I'm 70, and I'm
Yeah.
trying, and they're going like, wow, they're 72 also, and they're saying this is really hard, and I was like, yeah, well, I don't remember that phase, I learned it and now I know it. But anyway, it's very interesting. And oh well, yeah, I finally got my fourth book out, which was hatched 6 years ago, but it took the publishers forever to put it out. And
Yeah.
so I'm doing that with the students and sharing this method it's called Sing and Tune. And it's all chromatic studies.
Great. Wow. Hold on one second. I'm not concentrating because we're having an earthquake, but
Oh,
I think we're okay. Yes, it's passed. Okay. Sorry. My attention was off of you and I didn't really want my attention off of you. Okay. That's the
my
second earthquake in a
attention was
week.
elsewhere. Oh dear. Yeah, I remember those. I've been through that being from California.
My husband just came in. Did you feel it? Yeah. But that's weird. Well, no, it's not that weird. Second earthquake in a week. Well, I hope not. He said it's a precursor. I hope it's an after cursor. Anyway,
Me
so
too.
tell me again. It's the fourth book, and was the first book the Hear It and Sing It, or
Yeah, they're actually I think it's yeah, there are three Hear It and Sing It's. So there's the one with the improv and the scales, modal
yeah,
jazz, and then the
yeah,
blues, and
yeah.
now this one
Oh, okay.
is singing in tune. And the other book is pro vocal jazz standards, where I sang with Fred
Oh, yeah.
Hirsch and those guys from so long
I
ago, and
have
it
that too. Yeah,
became a book. And yeah, so
yeah.
this is the fourth book that
So,
I've done by myself.
tell us what about this book?
Well, it features three different sections, and it's all exercises. It's not about learning to improvise that you get in the other books. So this one is vocal technique and pronunciation, which is vocal technique. And when you teach around the world, as you and I do, you encounter singers from various countries who have an easy time with their own syllables that are native to them, but a really hard time with English ones sometimes. So It's a lot. The first section is warm-ups and meditation, breathing, various little improv exercises, and then it goes into singing every interval on a syllable and then on solfege syllables. Do, di, do, re, do, mi, do, fa, do, fi, etc. And then, so all this is warm up, tuning in your brain. Then it goes on to these chromatic exercises. So there are 12 of them, and they explore each interval in a scale. So of course there are 12 chromatic notes in an octave. So the first one is when we sing, we do swing. And some of them are more profound than that one, but some of them are quite silly. Some are very beautiful. What an unusual night, and look at the moon starry light. So I was trying to get words that are tough for Spanish, German, Japanese, Italian, whatever, for people to say.
Yeah.
And the text also gets you over the breaks in your voice, and the female register helps to get over those transition points in between what we used to call chest voice and head voice. So they have a double whammy. And then the last section is arpeggiated chords that will help increase the range and also develop the ears. So I did that in my first book with the major seventh, but this time we've got dominants and extensions on the dominants. So it's kind of a nerdy book, but people love it and it makes them sing better. So that was my goal.
Cool. I'm curious. I mean, I don't know if this actually is a reality or not. What between the first book and the second book? I know the first book was super popular.
Yes, it was very simple.
But it was great because people actually could follow it, and just by following it and doing it, they got better. I had so many reports from students who loved it. And I might not have just been around much for the blues one when it came out, and I have it, but I did, and I think I had one student who might have even told me that it was out. I don't know. But so just curious, did the blues one do as well as the first one?
No, but I mean, it's hard to do as well on your second book. And this was a book with 2 CDs, so it was more expensive. These financial things, play into it as well.
Yeah.
But I have a great band and great accompanying tracks. Yeah. And the thing is, with the blues book, it goes from super simple to advanced. There's a 7/4, a 5/4 blues. Oh. So it goes from very simple and singing through the changes and getting all the scales. And I mean, who knows why it didn't do as well? I really can't tell you. But I think because it was more expensive.
Yeah. I was just curious, if you noticed that or not,
Well, I noticed that only one of my students ever made it through the whole book.
Really?
That was a Spanish student who was like one of those students with like fire in her eyes. It was like just the best student you could ever have. And now she's teaching at the conservatory or another conservatory. She made it through the whole book. I mean, there's 13 songs that I wrote, which are pretty darn good, I have to say. But there's a lot of info, and it's really like a conservatory level book.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Interesting.
The next one, the singing in tune, is back to exercises for everybody.
Okay, interesting.
And fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that one. So, yeah.
Did you ever publish your book? I still have your book.
That little one?
I guess whatever you were using it.
The vocal technique or the jazz philosophy?
Oh, I don't have that.
Oh, I should send you that. It's just a little book that I've kind of finished combining my ideas during the pandemic. It's just little ideas that I noticed when I was teaching. I would notice that what I was teaching, even technically, was like philosophy and also like singing jazz. You know, those same lessons like worked and applied in each of those subjects. So I just I just put it together. It's just a little, you know, kind of pandemic book, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so but I'll send it to you for
An
shits
inspirational
and
book for
giggles.
people who are
Yeah, yeah,
thinking alone in their rooms.
exactly, exactly. So yeah. So lately you're in Berlin and what are you doing lately?
I just did a week-long workshop in Loire Valley in France.
Yeah.
Before that, I was in New York performing in Terrytown at one of Mark Morganelli's big outside concerts. And
Oh,
before that, I was in Bratislava teaching in Slovakia. And in between being here in Berlin, going to my aquafit every day. And, you know, I have the option of being either in Berlin or New York City
yeah.
because I have a place there. So I consider it, but it's just so incredible here in the summer. It's hard to leave. It's so beautiful and clean air and hot, but not too hot, and blue skies and green and canals and rivers and lakes. And, you know, it's pretty fabulous,
Yeah.
along with all the culture, opera, symphony, tons of jazz. And so I just decided to enjoy it and go from here to my European things. I also perform with the big band down in Frankfurt. That is the Hessische Rundfunk. They have three state subsidized big bands in Berlin, in Germany. And that's a gig where you actually get treated and paid decently. And I got to pay tribute to a dear friend of mine, Mr. Peter Herpolzheimer, who passed away about 5 years ago. And I used to teach his workshops every year he had two big bands of students, and they would meet for 10 days in a music academy. And I would coach two groups of singers, 5 singers. So one was the main big band, and the next was like the subs. And you would teach everybody, and it was great. So we did a big tribute to him at a castle in Germany. I mean,
Oh,
that's the cool thing about Europe, you know, you get gigs in castles.
I like it. Last gig I saw like that was a string quartet in a morgue. What? It's not a morgue. It's a, what is it? You know,
A funeral home?
no, not a funeral home. Where they have bodies
Oh,
in,
mortuary,
yeah,
mortuary.
a mortuary. Yeah, it was, and it's a gorgeous mortuary. It's near Pasadena. I think maybe it's in Altadena, but I mean, the sound was gorgeous, but it was, you know, it's odd, you know, and the
Yeah,
guests are kind of in a line because there's not like a big hall.
right.
But it was pretty cool though, you know, very unusual.
Yeah, yeah.
Eh, well, I have,
So anyway, I've
yeah,
just been, you know, I was in New York and there wasn't much happening in the fall, and all of a sudden in March I was like teaching in Holland and then back to England, and it was crazy. Things just started happening here. But that is, I had considered moving back to New York after the pandemic, and I keep going and staying longer and longer, but I haven't yet
yeah,
decided to leave this lovely European life, you know.
yeah. I mean, why would you go back?
Because my family's in America, my brother's kids who have kids, and they're all in the States. And because they have kids, some of them were in Germany for a while, but now they're all back over there. So to have more time with those people while I'm still on the earth. So I may be back there in a couple of years.
Right, right.
And but otherwise I mean, I love my country, and I support my country, whatever happens, whoever's elected. That isn't why I'm not going back. So a lot of people feel that's an issue, but that isn't my issue. Yeah, it's more personal, you know, who do I love? How close should I be to them?
Yeah, yeah. Taylor has a few questions, and he always has some good questions. So, uh, here you go. Here's one. Uh, Recently in your practice, has your routine for learning tunes or enhancing your voice changed at all? What kinds of things have been super effective in your development?
Who's Taylor?
Taylor Hatch is a really smart guy. He's good guitar player. He went to North Texas, and
Uh-huh.
but he's graduated from there. And so, yeah, he's just a smart guy. He comes and asks great questions, and that's who
Does he
Taylor.
sing?
I don't think so, Taylor. You
Okay.
don't sing, right? Yeah, but he likes, he treats us all, you know, in the same
Oh,
realm.
I wasn't saying that, but should we treat him in the same? I'm not worried about how anybody treats me. No, I just want to know where the question's coming from.
He
Is he
said,
like, is
he
he
said, I
at
do
my
sing
age?
actually. No,
What?
he said, I do sing actually. No, he's probably, I don't know how old you are, Taylor, 30 or something, or 35.
Okay.
I don't know, around 30
So
maybe.
anyway, how has my routine changed? It hasn't really changed. I do various warm-ups and I've been teaching my whole life. So I have things I do to keep my voice in shape, mostly singing and teaching and gigging and doing jams and rehearsing and writing songs and practicing songs. So there's not a specific thing that has changed. And because I got a great technique as a young person from a great voice teacher, and probably because of many things, I still have 3 octaves that I always had since I was 17 and studying opera, and everything works. Ah, that's a good thing in the voice anyway. And gosh, yeah, I mean the music, I've lived my whole life in music, like every day, all day. When I was teaching here in Berlin at the conservatory, everyone had keys to the building, so there was music going on like 24 hours basically. And I mean, of course, I wasn't there jamming with kids at 4 in the morning, but we would be there. And if we were working on something and it became 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night, it was fine. And so I've had the incredible luck to be able to have as much music as I want, and
Yeah,
with great musicians. And I appreciate that. I don't know if that answers your question at all.
I
But
think so. Well, what's that kind of brought to mind something else, which is um I'm not sure of my question. Something like what do you find worthwhile or pleasing for you um, to develop as something? I mean, it's all new, right? Because we're in every day, right? We're in the moment every day. But so right now,
I'm
what
not sure what it is.
I know that's what I'm trying to find. Um, so there's like you're working on things. You're working on music, different musical things, and what would be something special that and possibly new that you're working on to develop? Or is it just all the same kind of stuff? Like, yes, I'm always writing, so I'm writing some new material every day.
Well,
Or
I'm learning a lot of Kurt Rosenwinkel tunes because of
oh,
having done this gig with them. And
okay,
that is fantastic and very interesting for my writing
yeah,
because he's such an interesting harmonic and melodic writer. And just gigging with him and playing with him is very stimulating and fun. So that kind of modern harmony is the next thing that I'm into, but it's not like I must sit down and learn Kurt Rosenwinkel.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's all flows out of what the gig is. I mean, last week I've been singing. In fact, I've been doing this whole summer program all summer. Here I had 5 nights at the A Train, and then I was singing. It's been great. So I was doing like Dock of the Bay and Summer in the City. And I was doing my old 70s songs, not necessarily socially conscious ones, but, just cool songs from summer. And I wrote words to Soy Khalifa, which is called Summertime is Here. And I'm doing my Peter Bernstein, he's on my last album. So I wrote lyrics to a bunch of his tunes. And, the lyric writing gets me, I take songs that I am inspired by, and then that opens up new harmonic language.
Yeah, yeah. How many songs have you written about?
120 lyrics.
Wow, it's a lot.
Yeah, but this is to, everything from Bill Evans to Monk to Sonny Stitt to whatever, Pat Metheny, blah, blah. But my own tunes, I probably have about 30 that I'm proud to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And it hasn't, it's not always the appropriate thing to perform in a concert, especially in New York City. Everybody wants to hear standards, which I love. But it's hard to find a place where you have an audience who wants to hear something they've never heard before.
Now that's kind of surprising in New York. I would think in New York that would be more available.
One would.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm in the wrong places. I don't know, but it's that whole, there's a scene of singers that go out and hear all the other singers. How is it in LA? You have some places where the creative singers are writing all their own stuff.
Well, I would say the more creative community is the new music community, the improvisationists.
Right.
And there are people around, and I haven't known about them like my whole time here in LA, which it's been about 50 years. But I mean, I've known people here and there, but in the last, I don't know, 8 years maybe, I've seen a lot more improvisationalists, and that's pretty cool. And there is a, I mean, when you talk to the musicians who are improvisationalists, they're basically saying that they're struggling financially and all that stuff too.
Of course.
But I do see there's an audience, who actually comes and enjoys. As far as the question of the artist who writes and who has a voice for themselves, that's a question that I have kind of in the back of my mind, because there's a lot of singers that I like who are some jazz and some not jazz, people. And I notice that my admiration for them is kind of in a particular space, as far as they're an artist. I think of them as a real artist because they have this whole complete, their music, their words, their musical ideas, like I just saw who I thought was adorable and hugely talented, Aubrey Johnson.
Oh, Aubrey's wonderful. Yeah, I know her from New York. And
Yeah.
there are people like that around, and doing the Birdland nights once in a while, and Pangea once in a while, and other things. But it's just maybe I just have to find the scene, But I love Aubrey. Yeah, she's a wonderful young
Yeah, it was
artist.
just yesterday, actually. No, yesterday? Yeah, just yesterday. Was it yesterday? Wait a minute.
You
No,
heard her?
it was the day before. She was at, remember the G Spot, that house venue in Highland Park, Mount Washington? I think you were there, but I want to say you were there. But anyway, it's a really nice home venue. And she got a grant for a tour on the West Coast.
Right. This is how you do it in the States now, apparently.
Yeah. She's so talented though. And I enjoyed the whole package. I enjoyed, her, her personality, her obvious commitment, to the music. Her voice is amazing. Her range is crazy. Her songs are great. They're very, very not only inspirational, beautiful, challenging. Her band was wonderful. So it was really, it was really nice. And I would like to see more of that in LA. And of course, there's the community of singers who are maybe less than super professional, right? You know,
Right,
and they're doing a lot of standards and
right,
supporting
which
each
is
other.
fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, right. Like where
But
we met through VR and all that.
yeah, but like I just came from Japan, right? I was there for
Ooh,
like a month in Japan and Korea. And
wow.
I mean, you're living places, so I don't know if it's the same, but you know, but you are traveling a lot to places you're not living in. Anyway, when you're not, when you travel, you have a very different experience. People appreciate you in a different
Right.
way, and and I think it's crucial to actually do that if you're, you know, if you're a living artist, especially maybe growing older, you know, to remind yourself, oh yeah, right, I am a guru, you know, right?
In case you forgot, right?
But I really do love traveling, you know. I was telling somebody that the other day, they were saying, why do you want to continue traveling? Why? There's so many reasons, you know. I
Because
mean,
of the music.
yeah, you meet all these people all over the
Yeah,
world who can
yeah.
experience things and have these beautiful musical experiences, you know. I mean, gosh.
And then you meet, like yesterday, we went through Paris, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just before the end of the ceremony, before the ceremony, and across from me on the metro was a woman who was a volunteer. She had volunteer on her T-shirt for the Olympics, and the whole mood and everything on the trains was incredible. Everyone was so nice and not snobby at all. Very sweet and so nice to all the foreigners and big smiles. Everybody was on a high. And she was telling me, I said, so what are you going to be doing today? She said, well, tonight is the closing ceremony. And she's like, shh, I'm going to be on the field, with all the athletes. And, it's just like, that's a fun experience to have for a second. I was like, why didn't I
Yeah.
go to the Olympics? Oh, right. I was teaching in a castle. But yeah, I love having those experiences too. So I get it totally. And
Yeah.
I was in Japan, but many years ago, and Taiwan and China, those exotic places, you, on a very visceral level, you learn about the people
Yeah.
without even analyzing it or anybody telling you. You feel with the body language, and especially when you're the only Westerner. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
very interesting. Are you working with Japanese people over there and Korean people?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
And some are super old friends, you know, like last time when I went, I had a reunion of one of the first bands I had at, do you remember this period of time? The Playboy Club
Oh,
in
yeah. I
Osaka.
remember that period.
Yeah, when a lot of us were going over for like, I think it was 3 months or
Oh,
something, or 6 weeks,
okay. I didn't
something
know
like
about
that.
that.
Yeah, there
Wow.
was, you know, when we were younger. And yeah, so I went to Tokyo and then I went to Osaka. And this was my Osaka band from
Huh?
however long ago that was, 40 years ago, 50. It was a long time ago. I went
Was it
1980.
Mr. Nakamura, the
No, but
piano player?
that's oh yeah, Nakamura? No,
Nakamura from St. James Infirmary Jazz Club? Nakamura.
no.
Okay, because I played there in
Oh,
Osaka.
really?
Yeah, and he was like he sounded just like Tommy Flanagan. And then Tommy was playing a couple doors down, and Tommy came into my gig because I knew him. He and George Mraz, they came in to hear me. They saw my name and they came in, and Tommy was like, "That guy's stealing all my shit,"
It's so
Mr.
true. That's
Nakamura
what
was like,
happened.
"Oh, Tommy Flanagan." He
That's
was
what
so
happened.
excited.
Yeah, they really did. In that period of time, they stole
Right.
all the shit. And now they're
But that
really
was a
brilliant.
compliment, of course.
Yeah, yeah. No, this time there was two piano players in Osaka who had lived in New York and
Oh,
were absolutely great, kind of younger, and I mean as good as anybody here. You know, it was really fun, and yeah, and then I went to Korea with this great piano player who used to live here, who I had recorded with a record here, and he and I have, you know, kept in touch, and he brought me over to Korea, and that was really fun too. But yeah, but yeah, I love Japan, but I miss Europe. In the old days when I would go to Europe and Japan, I really would always be going, "Oh, Europe," you know. It just feels different. It feels free. You know, to me, you know, it's like you know, you're not kind of stuck in these rules, you know, it's just
oh
like
no, yeah,
very
right. Like you
creative.
are in the Far Eastern countries, you mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's great because you can bop over to Spain, and then you're up in Finland, and then you're in
yeah,
Denmark and Holland, and it's amazing. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah,
The countries are still different from one another, although of course they're becoming more and more homogenized and, you know,
yeah,
Americanized with the internet and everything, but
yeah.
it's still great. Hey, I want to talk about my record with Jay Clayton.
Okay.
Wait, I have to go get it. Oh, I have it here. Well, you know, it came out last year, of course, but then Jay passed away on January 31st, and I still think about her. I mean, sorry, December 31st of 2023. I still think about her all the time, and I'm just so happy that we got our duo recorded and released and on Spotify where everybody can hear it for free. And I have you heard it? Any of it? Not to put you on the spot.
I don't think I actually have, and actually I'm going to be interviewing John
John
DiMartino.
DiMartino? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, he sure plays with a lot of singers. Whew.
he came out here to play for Mary Stallings and Houston Pearson, and I thought, haven't I met this guy before? And I did. I met him at that place in let's see, what's that?
Pangea.
No, no, it's outside of the city. It's the Delaware Water Gap place.
Okay. The Deerhead.
The Deerhead, yeah. So I did a gig there and I stayed for a few days and he was playing with, I think he was playing with the sax player, that guy, he sounds so good. I forget his name and I interviewed him too. Uh, yeah, it's
Well,
right on the tip
John
of my
plays
tongue.
beautifully on this, and we were just in Idaho in March playing a bunch of gigs with this wonderful man, Abe Goldstein, who presents house concerts and
Uh,
concerts in a big center in Des Moines. So John was with me there, and then he was with me on this gig in Terrytown. He's a wonderful pianist, super, super great accompanist.
yeah,
So he and Jay did a recording, and we decided I had originally proposed this to Jay because we always love singing together, and we decided to make it a double duo because I was at that time married to a guitarist, Jean-Francois Prince.
yes.
And I said, well, let me do my duo with Jean-Francois and you do whatever you want. She said, well, I want to do with Jay Anderson. And I'm like, perfect, because I always use Jay on the bass. So we recorded like half the album. Then in the meantime, Jean-Francois and I divorced. And I was like, I can't, you know, I can't finish the album with him. Although now again we're performing together. I was in Brussels singing with him a couple months
Oh,
ago, and yeah, we transcended it all after 9 years. But anyway, so then we hired John to be the chord player, so that was fun. And we finished up the album and got 13 tunes. And Jay did a couple of her free pieces, duo with Jay Anderson on it. One of them, well, you know, the one, Let It Go,
yes.
Let It Go. And the other one, another one that's really great. And they're fantastic pieces on here. I did a couple of my original songs with John. One is Joy Harjo's Eagle poem, which I don't know if I was doing when I knew you, but I set her poem to music. She was our poet laureate in the States twice.
Oh,
American Indigenous, American Indian, Joy Harjo. So we got to do our creative stuff, and I put it out, and there it is on John Francois' label.
oh,
And there it is out in the world. And now I'm doing the same concept, but with other singers.
oh,
Dave's not here.
let me write that down. What the title is.
Voices in Flight.
Okay, I'll have to go hear it. Voices in
Yeah,
Flight.
yeah. I mean, I just, I'm mostly wanting people to hear Jay, really. And we did a couple of her tunes, beginner, and a bunch of my lyrics that she learned.
Cool. Wow, that's nice. So you're putting that out, or you did put it out?
It came out in 2023 before she passed on. And in
Oh,
fact, you remember when I wanted you to come to the concert, I did a fundraiser for her while she was alive, raised a bunch of money, and made a video for her of everybody singing and giving her their best wishes. And that was very satisfying.
yeah,
I hand delivered it up there when I went up. I think you were there a few days before,
yeah,
and she was happy to hear it. And of course, she had the mixed blessing of being aware of what the heck was going on,
yeah, yeah,
but she was such an inspiration in how she handled knowing that she was going to be leaving soon, right?
yeah, yeah.
And about being in the moment and letting it go. And wow, it was
Yeah.
inspiring to be her friend.
Yeah, totally. As a matter of fact, I wrote a song. I can't remember if it was when she had passed. I think it was after she had passed, and I got Lisa Rich to help me with the lyrics. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, I'll send you it. It's
Yeah.
just a sweet song. I think I recorded it in Korea. I haven't heard the recording that we did in Korea, but I think I recorded it. But it's yeah, I think I did a few songs to dead people. I don't know,
That's
when
part of
people
getting
die.
older.
Yeah, I feel like writing something to them, But
Yeah.
yeah, so but it's kind of prayer-like. It's pretty. Yeah, I'll send that to you.
Nice.
Speaking of songs, let's hear a song.
Oh, can you do that?
I mean, let's share what are we going to share? We can share a video or audio or
I would like to share a video, which is my composition, and it's a whole multimedia thing dedicated to an artist, Chiida, who's a sculptor. So if you Google Judy Niemack, Chill,
it's not on YouTube?
yeah, it's
It is on YouTube.
Chillida.
Okay, spell that again.
Chillida. But in Spanish, in Espanol, it would be Chiida.
And how do you spell it, hon?
Chillida.
IDA.
I mean, I could just send it to you if you
All
don't
right,
find
if
it.
it's here.
They can all be looking it up themselves,
Is
whoever
this-
they all are.
Can you see my screen? I don't see.
There it is. There it is, right at the top.
Oh, poem, black and light and black.
Keep going down. There's another one.
Let's see.
What's the third one?
Either way.
That's good. What's that fourth one?
Around
Okay,
midnight.
let's hear either way. Either way.
Okay.
So it's just one of the songs I wrote, music and words.
Okay, cool.
Well, if you stand around looking at the ocean long enough, you realize that it's always different, always changing. Waves roll in and waves roll back, and they bring sometimes a beautiful sunny weather, and then 10 minutes later, the clouds come in and the rain is falling on your head. And so we can learn from that, as we probably all know, everything changes. And either way you win, either way you lose. Trust yourself and let go into it. Oh, there she goes again, crashing and sliding into the sea again.
lots of solos. These are the professors from the school where I was teaching.
Oh, cool.
But if you want to move on, that's a taste of that one.
Okay.
Excuse me. That was the one where everybody got a chance to sing, and you.
Okay.
Either way you win, either way you lose, either way, when looking at the sea, you'll find it's true. Well, you got to let go to make room for something new. I let go once, I lost my grip. Just trust yourself and let go into it. There she goes again, crashing and sliding, crashing and sliding, crashing and sliding into the sea again.
Cool. Wow, that's nice. Fun to
Thank
do it
you.
with everybody. Yeah.
What's that?
It's fun to do it with everybody there. Yep. Ohio gozaimasu, Hiroki-san. So let's see. Taylor, by the way, says Zhivago is my favorite Kurt Rosenwinkel tune.
Oh, I love Zhivago. We're doing that one. It's fun.
I figured if it
I
was,
think it's everybody's favorite Kurt Rosenwinkel tune, and it's on his new project. I mean, he wrote that in the 90s, and it's a very cool tune. So I get it. I'm with you.
let's see. I'm looking at Taylor's questions. Um, well, he asks about this. What songs or standards do you go back to for inspiration and even broadening your musical horizons?
Well, I just did a workshop and gave everybody my 100 essential standards and 25 gorgeous ballads. So I could pull that up for you, or I could PDF it to Cathy and you could take a look at it if you are looking for inspiration. Yeah, for me, I know probably more than 1,000 songs. I know Ellington and Gershwin and Irving Berlin and Cole Porter and Rodgers and Hart and James Van Heusen and all the Dorothy Fields. So it depends, and it's not like I feel I need to go back to something for inspiration, but inspiration occurs from those standards. I love them. So this last week I was teaching everybody I Love You Madly by the great Duke. I love his tunes. I'm in the middle of, I have a Ukrainian pianist that lives with me here in Berlin, who's a refugee, and he's a great piano player. So we play together every couple days. And we just got out the Wayne Shorter book and started going through all those tunes, But I love the songs with lyrics and, I've been doing Too Darn Hot in my summer program because it's so much fun, I mean, it's just like a big cornucopia of goodies, really, the whole jazz repertoire. And I do adore standards. And gosh, I mean, I made the mistake of giving the Peacocks as one of the tunes required in the fifth year in Spain. And I can't stand that tune anymore because I heard it sung so many times. Not quite right, but that's a very challenging tune for people to do. Lush Life. The Fred Hirsch and Norma Winstone collaboration is now available as a book, and those are beautiful and challenging and fun.
Yeah, those are.
I love Bob Duro. I love Dave Frischberg. So I think my taste runs similar to most of the serious jazz singers of my generation. But now I'm doing, I'm doing my stuff when I can.
Yeah.
And that's what gives me inspiration, honestly, which is good. It should give you inspiration, your own stuff, right?
You know what? I had this gig that's an occasional gig that very straight ahead, and I pulled that. So I do a lot of groove kind of standards on it. And I've really loved singing Bill Bailey,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you come home, about that tempo. It's really fun.
I
It's
gave
such a
that to my
simple song.
students here in Germany when I started teaching.
You
I did
did?
I had them do their singers night of the whole history of jazz. And that was the first tune. I think it was from 1924, maybe. I know
Yeah.
Blackbird is 26, but I think that was before. So I was like,
Yeah.
do that. They loved it.
It's a fun
It's a
song.
cool tune.
What about ballads? I know I've heard you sing, didn't you sing The Moon is a Harsh Mistress? And
No, that's Jay.
okay.
That's Jay Clayton tune. And as Jay kind of promoted not doing anybody else's tunes, but I've done a bunch of Mingus, like Strollin' or like Weird Nightmare, Eclipse. Mingus tunes are great. The Thelonious Monk ballads, I've done all of
Yeah.
them in
Yeah.
various gigs and with my Mingus Monk and Mel album. But yeah, now I'm trying to pull up my list because you can never think of them when you're trying, right?
I know, that's so true.
I'm gonna pull up my list.
How many
And
CDs do you have, Jude?
how many which?
How many CDs do you have?
15.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
Me
Like
too.
many of us.
Yeah, actually, this new one is 16. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
I mean, and
Yeah,
Jay had a whole
counting the one
shitload
with
too.
Jay, it's 16. We're
And
running
Jay,
neck and neck.
yeah, and Jay actually had a lot of CDs as well, tons.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, you save up your money and you document what you're doing, and that's how we always did it. Nowadays, people get GoFundMe,
Yeah,
or get other people to pay for it, which is very clever, actually. I
Taylor's
never.
mentioning Enemies of Energy is another one he loves from Kurt. And Enemies of Energy.
All right, go for it. I don't know that one. That sounds good though.
He said, I'm sure this is a simple process for you, but when it comes to lyric writing, how do you choose what fits and what doesn't in a song, even
Oh
If
my
it,
God. Okay, well, it's a puzzle,
yeah,
and you're not allowed to change the rhythms of the notes.
right.
And you need to find phrases that work and vowels that work with that phrase.
Yeah.
So first of all, you listen a lot and you find out what it means to you. Like, for example, I wrote a lyric to Kurt's Minor Blues. Maybe your friend Taylor knows that one. And this came pretty quickly. It's kind of a simple, I'm just going to look it up quick. But the other rule for me, like I said, I've written 120 of them, and I decided that I would never repeat myself. Therefore, I got through all of my own cliches pretty early on back in the 90s when I started, and I never repeated anything. So then it became, I really have to find new things. Also, you need to be a rhyme wizard and figure out where it would logically rhyme. This is challenging for many Europeans who don't speak English or feel the standard form so well. And sometimes it's hard for them to feel where the rhyme should happen. And so we have an advantage in that sense. But also sometimes you're just writing to a song that doesn't have even lines or lines that require rhyming. But anyway, I'm trying to give a quick version of how I do it.
Yeah.
A lot of listening, and then I make a list of rhymes that are about the subject. So I've decided what I'm going to do, and I find if you know who Gene Lee's, the writer, not the singer, Gene, who wrote the lyrics to many of the bossa novas,
Great
and
writer. Yeah.
great writer. He has his own rhyming dictionary, and it's golden. You have to buy it. It's just the
Oh,
best thing. Yeah, because he has lists of words that are used in songs, not just every word. So it cuts out a lot of extra words you'll never use. And he has lots of information about how to write lyrics and how to make cadences and what the song forms are and the history of song forms. So Gene Lee's, Lees, that would be a great rhyming
that's
dictionary.
interesting. Yeah. I wrote some published lyrics to Pat Metheny's song called In Her Family, which was a really
Uh-huh.
beautiful song from like, the old days. And he liked them. He let me publish them. So that
Yeah,
was really,
that's what he did with me with It's Just Talk. And that's
oh,
my social statement. And I still do that tune.
oh,
Take a look at this world. Do you think we'll last? I guess we better talk a while, and maybe we can find some better way to be free. And yeah, he loved it, and I got to be a lyricist. He's
oh.
great.
Yeah, that's great. I love that song. Do you have a book of your songs?
No, but if you want something, let me know.
Well, how do
I
we
mean,
know what
I
songs?
have it.
How do we know what songs you've done?
Yeah, well, they're getting up on my website, so take a look over
Oh,
there.
all right.
And you'll
Yeah.
see which songs I've done with the accompanying lyric. But
Okay.
this one is the Kurt Rosenwinkel one. So the original melody is like, it's a minor blues, like da 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 da, if we're in this key, and it's one dee da do da. So I was like, spirit of light, fly on the night wind, send me a lifeline. I've lost my way back home. Hear my silent calling. So I go with the rhyme and sometimes just the vowel of the I, right? I'm sure you do the same thing to
Yeah.
make beautiful notes on higher sound, higher pitches. It's
Yeah.
complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just giving me an idea. I have to write it down. Pardon me. Uh, okay, because I often wonder, how to really present the songs that I've written, and I did collect them and all in a OneDrive, and I tried to define what groove they were, and if it was me writing lyrics to somebody's tune or if it was my song. And but then to get them out. But I think even if it's on your website as a link, right?
Yeah, link them to a
Um,
PDF on your website that people
yeah,
can have if they want it.
yeah. To my songs composition. Okay. I'm gonna write that down because I'll never remember it if I don't write it down. I
Well,
might
I'm writing
remember it.
down to send you some ideas for Berlin when you come,
Oh,
and to
good.
ask you for some ideas about Japan, because I would like to go back.
Yeah, no problem. I can hook you up.
And yeah, but yeah, so writing lyrics is a super fun way to get more of yourself into the music. And actually, there's really no limit to the number of lyrics as long as you change the title. Don't use the original title, that's illegal. And usually the instrumental writer will be happy to have another vocal version that brings him in a few more pennies.
Yeah, man. Um, yep. And you can even do what like Meredith D'Ambrosio does, which is write lyrics to solos, you know. Um,
Well, she actually writes the solos.
yeah, yeah,
She calls it paraphrasing, which is
yeah,
amazing. Her books, the paraphrase books, are so cool. I don't know if she ever published them, but they're great.
yeah, they're really amazing. Well, that reminds me of like when you and I were at Janice Borla's summer camp and you sang, and I said, wow, how did you? I came up to you and I said, I think I probably mentioned this to you already a million times, but I said, how do you remember all of those notes and words and everything? And you said, oh, no, that was totally improvising. And which totally blew me away. It was like, what? Because that is one ability I cannot do is, improvise with
The
words.
word thing.
I'm just so corny and nothing and.
It's really a crapshoot, I gotta say. It can work great though. If you're in the flow, it can be mind-blowingly good. And at this point, it's usually pretty good when I do it. But there have been times when it was just like, oh no, I shouldn't have done this. But Sheila is the big influence there because she does it. She's got those rhymes popping right out, and it's so cute, right?
How's
I
Sheila
can't believe
doing?
she's still great. I mean, there was a picture up today from Amy at the Vermont Jazz Camp. Amy
Oh,
took Jay's place and
uh,
was kind of helping Sheila out too in basic getting around and all that, but teaching with her. And they had 20 singers, and apparently they had a great time.
great. Wow.
Yeah, there are singers everywhere. So I look forward to seeing you and the other singers in LA in January.
Yeah. Gonna make a workshop for Jude and were you planning on doing a gig? Were you just planning on basically visiting family or what?
Just getting out of the dark Berlin winter, but yeah, I'll be with my brother, but I should get a gig, but it's probably too late already. I don't know. I'm being very laissez-faire, but I'll write to everybody. Maybe you'll give me some names of clubs I should contact.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll see. But just to be out in my hometown, and I'll probably do some masterclass videos on my own, because my brother's a filmmaker and that will be easier to do with him.
Yeah.
And hang out and come to people's gigs and make music.
Cool. Great.
But anyway, before that, you'll be here. I don't know how much more time we're having.
Oh, I mean, we can stop anytime, but we have about a half hour left.
Oh, cool. I
But,
mean, I could get Yuri. Yeah, no, we can't do a live tune because we don't have the right sound and everything. But yeah, no, I'm not in a rush either. I'm just hanging out.
yeah.
What else do we want to talk about? How about the spiritual in jazz? One of your favorite
Does
subjects.
matter really matter at all? Horace Silver.
What's that?
Does matter really matter at all?
Oh,
Or no, it's called How Much Does Matter Really Matter?
wow.
Yeah, that was the first time I heard Andy Bay.
Uh-huh. Oh, I
I
don't know that one.
I thought Andy Bay was a girl, when I first heard him. And
Oh, right. He was singing so high.
yeah, and then I never heard, I mean, besides that project with Horace Silver, I never
Hmm.
heard he and his sisters before. Or I mean,
Right.
after
The
until
Bay sisters.
yeah, just until really not too long ago, maybe 3 years ago. And I was blown away, man. Wow, that was a cool grouping of, human singers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I dug it because they were singing, they were matching his singing, his phrasing, right? They didn't like kind of write the parts and all do the parts. No, they were matching what he normally sang, and that was how they sang,
Uh-huh.
harmony and stuff, but which that's unusual. You know, you don't really
Well,
see.
with family groups, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My sister and I were my brother's backup singers, but it was all like Simon and Garfunkel and like, you know, chunk, 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 really loud, him really loud on the melody, and we fit in with the harmonies. And it was great practice. But I think family bands kind of
Yeah,
have that easier, right? Like the Boswell sisters.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, we had that too. My sister, one played piano, and my sisters were twins, so they actually sounded similar too, kind of similar bodies or something.
Right.
And
And you
and
can resonate better.
yeah, yeah, it was fun. And I was actually the high voice, which was, strange growing up, because really I
Right.
developed into a lower voice, uh but yeah, and we had fun. I have little recordings. I actually put a recording on my record, Heart to Heart, which was a duo with Ross Tompkins, that piano player. And one of my sisters had just passed, and I had on cassette tape, I had one time when I went home, and we sang Good Night, Sweetheart, and which was one of our Segal sisters hits. And I actually put that on the record. It was great. Oh, it was so cool to hear
Wow.
our little voices, and yeah, it was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, I don't remember hearing that, but I think you gave me that when
That
you
record.
first recorded it
Yeah.
long ago.
Yeah, long.
Right? I mean, it was a while ago, I think.
It was a while ago. Yeah. So,
Anyway, when I first started a project with a singer from India whose name is Sangeeta Bandyopadhyay, she's a classical singer from Mumbai, and
uh,
she's been studying since she was 8 years old at the foot of the master who was her grandfather. And
uh,
now she's in her 50s. She's famous all over India, and she travels the world. And we decided very optimistically to put together a duo. And gosh, I wish I had a video of that up on YouTube. But anyway, it was very interesting. And the first question she asked me was, well, what are your devotional songs in jazz?
uh,
And I was like,
uh,
Amazing Grace. Let's see, come Sunday, a child is born.
yeah.
We just don't have many. I mean, of course, Ellington did his sacred concerts and all that, but I began to write lyrics that were about things that mattered to me in the spiritual side of life, and because I feel that's missing. So on my last CD, the one with Peter Bernstein and Sullivan, and it's called What's Love, and it explores some of the aspects of love that are not just male female or female female, not just romantic love. And one of them is called Firefly, where I kind of explored the legend of the firefly and how it was an important icon for certain cultures about leading to the light and fireflies following them to a higher ground. And in fact, that song, Higher Ground, is another one that for me, a Higher Love, sorry, Higher Love by Stevie Winwood. It's another one that's a spiritual song.
Yeah.
There's the one by Joni Mitchell where she's going to study with Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, right? I forget the name of it, on the road, something on the road to
Yeah.
study. There are songs, you know, but I've been sort of writing them and collecting them and looking for them, and I just find that people really respond to them. I think when we were at the jazz camp together, I was doing the Don Grolnick one, which was Straight Up to the Light, which was originally a Mike Brecker tune called Talking to Myself. So anyway, I just wondered, have you been consciously looking at that too?
Well, every single day I do work either reading or listening to people speak, you know, and so every day I would say I'm thinking about expansion and my point of view of the world. And I mean, in fact, I just had a great conversation the other day, but you know, in agreement on any problem being solved if you can first look at it and then second take responsibility for it. And so, but take the looking at seems pretty understandable for most people what it is, you know, confronting something and looking at it, although not everybody can, not everybody is able to look at their own shit. But the taking responsibility, I think, it's a very large box that, you know, contains a lot of different opinions and experiences, and some of which are under the consciousness, you know, can be felt, but maybe not verbalized. But I do that, and the music, I guess I feel more and more actually personally that maybe my understanding of what I connect to most. I mean, of course, I love swinging, you know, it's fun, and I love grooves and blah, blah, blah. That's really fun, and it's part of what we do, part of life. But what I really like to do, and what I've always seemed to connect with audiences on especially, is those kind of crystal moments that I feel are connected to a higher source, right?
Whether or
Very,
not you're actually saying words about it, you mean?
yeah, yeah, because you're telling about that feeling, right? You're expressing that, and people are getting it, so they're touched, you know, and that little door is opened, and yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
I just wondered because I know you as a spiritual person who is thinking about all that, and wondered if you were also kind of looking for that kind of material or songs, you know.
Yeah, I
But
did actually write a small group of songs, maybe 6, 10, something like that. When you know, those gigs come up where you sing at self realization churches and, you know, that kind of thing. So I liked that material. It was simple, and people seemed to need something simple that was, you know, kind of inspired that feeling. So I did write a group of those songs. I haven't used them per se. I was thinking, actually, now that we're talking about it, I was thinking specifically of making a record of spiritual songs, or songs that I considered very connective to that, you know. And I had a piano player I was working with who was, when she played, it was just so connected, you know, to that kind of feeling and realm. So, but that kind of, you know, went on the wayside to the other projects took place. I would say that, of course, on every project I try and reach that, right?
Of
I,
course. Well, that's what we're in it for.
uh,
That's the reward.
I heard,
Connecting to that energy.
I was in a workshop, an online workshop of Kenny Werner's the other day.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. The
It was
line,
great.
discovering the line.
Yeah, and he's just he's cool to listen to, and of course I have his, both his books and stuff, and yeah, he's just, you know, he has the right point of view. He's
Yeah,
talking.
well, he studies with Guru Mai, I think, huh?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or anyway, that was the important person in his life at a point, and
yeah,
yeah. Well, it's when you're at that level. I also enjoyed his book. For maybe people don't know, Effortless Mastery is the title. And when it first came out, many people were influenced by it, and in a very positive way. And I think it's really an important book, and he has an important message about being in the moment and how to, let go of your mind, what your mind wants to control or judge in you. And all that is connected with mindfulness, as we know. So,
yeah. I actually find it very inspiring. Like, I've been rereading the second book, Being the Instrument, and I find it actually charming and inspiring that he talks about himself as he was growing up, as being an open channel for music. And like when he sat down at the piano, he was the perfect recipient, the perfect spiritual open, recipient, but away from the piano, he wasn't. And I think that's so helpful
uh-huh.
for people to hear. Even for people who were born with this ability, you still, it doesn't kind of make you, God everywhere. And so you have to do the work.
Well,
Right?
also, people need to realize he wasn't born with that ability. He worked his butt off to get to
Yeah.
be that fluid before he ever started to let go. So, I mean, it's one thing to say let go, but please don't let go until you've mastered something. That's me. That's me. And I mean, he can say let go and play amazing because he put in the hours and hours and hours for years and years and years before letting it all go.
Right, of course, of course.
But anyway, he is a brilliant player, and I did 2 albums with him, which were really fun, and did a lot of hanging out with him in the early New York days before he became spiritual. in the Record Brothers 7th Avenue South days, when I first moved to New York, which is fun. I moved there in 78, and I think I met Jay around 1980. And I was, an avid hanger-outer on the whole scene, hearing Cedar Walton and Kenny Barron and Tommy Flanagan and Hank Jones and everybody at Bradley's, and going to hear the Brecker Brothers or whatever bands were out there. And Janet Lawson was singing then, and really great. And Helen Merrill and Sarah and Carmen and so many, right? Actually, I think I heard Anita O'Day in LA first, and Sarah too. I remember hearing Sarah Vaughan and being like all disappointed because her sets were basically the same. I was studying with an improvising sax player, Warne Marsh, and I was like, that was a spiritual thing right there. It was like nothing mattered but the music, and you moving yourself and going as deeply as you could, concentrating on mastering patterns, phrases, musical tools, and then using that to create something as great as you could. And then I heard Sarah, and she did the same set twice with the same jokes, and I was like, but that's not improvising.
Was that her later years? Because when I heard her in
No.
later years, when I heard her in later years, I heard her doing that, and Ella
But
too.
it was a show, and they did
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
They were stars. They were more like entertainers.
yeah. They were pop artists, kind of.
And she was great. And I think it's just funny that I was even disappointed now that I look back on it. And Warren was like, no, she doesn't have to improvise every second,
Well,
She's improv-
I think Carmen was, I respected Carmen a lot, like over the years, because I didn't hear her doing the same thing over and over again.
Right,
It's always
right.
contemporary, and of course, phrasing was like, as far as I'm concerned, she was, maybe the queen of phrasing, I mean, I can't tell you how many teachers came to my workshops and told students not to interrupt the sentence, right?
Uh-huh.
While you're singing, which, yeah. However, when Carmen interrupts the sentence, it doesn't matter because she's mocking up the idea of what she's saying so intensely that you're right with her, so she can let a space happen, but she's going to continue because she's in the idea, and you're
Exactly.
in the idea with her. I mean, to me, that's like, wow. I'm very impressed with that for a singer who sings standards,
Yeah. I mean, generally, like when I tell someone don't break the sentence, it's because they are destroying the meaning and they're not aware of what they're
Yes,
saying.
right,
And they're singing it like they would never speak it.
right.
Whereas Carmen is always singing it like she would speak it. And if she ran out of breath, she would stop. Like I did. But yeah, I never thought about it that way about her. So that's a very interesting comment. I like it. Hey,
Yeah,
my phone's about to run out of power, so I want to just grab my battery. I'll be
okay.
back. Just talk among yourself.
Okay, I have some good Taylor questions here. Oh, yeah, and over on YouTube, I have some comments. Oh, Eartha Kitt always repeated her sets with the same jokes for years. Yeah, there were a bunch of people who did that. Actually, Kurt Elling. When I first saw Kurt, he had come to LA, and I heard him not only sing the same set, but he actually sang the same improvisations. And that actually disappointed me for a long time about Kurt, but I'm sure he's moved on from there. He's such a good singer. Did you hear what I was saying?
No, I went to get my battery. Tell me.
Kurt Elling, the first time he came to LA, he had several gigs around town, and I was really impressed the first gig, and then the second gig, not so, because same songs, same improvisations, and so that kind of, turned me off for a while. But then, of course, I think I mean, he's such a consummate professional and great. So, but but that first one, I was like, okay,
Yeah, right.
I don't know what's going
Yeah, I
on.
mean, yeah, and I don't really want to hear someone just improvising if it's not good. It's
Yeah,
fine if they don't improvise, But
yeah,
I knew about Sarah's solos and how amazing she was, so I really wanted to hear new ones, and all that. But it's all like I tell my students: if you need to do the same solo, it's fine,
yeah,
Even Ella did it on How High the Moon, and
yeah.
people learn their own solos, and if they're good, even Red Rodney. I just learned this at the workshop. Everybody sits around telling musician jokes. So the trumpeter knew Red Rodney, and he played the exact same solo, every night on this one. He was like, "I'm sorry, man, but it's like it's good. I can do it. It's the best I can do."
Hey, by the way, on YouTube, I hadn't seen this before, but Charles Tellerant, he said, still remember Judy waiting by the payphones in the lobby of my building, the Breton Hall in New York City, waiting for her weekly.
What was this about YouTube?
Well, there on YouTube, I have different comments than on
Okay.
Facebook, so I hadn't seen that. Anyway, so he said that, and
He
Taylor
met
has,
me in the phone booth outside Breton Hall. Nice. That's where I
yeah,
was studying with Warren in New York, because Warren was my teacher in Pasadena, of course. And then I
Yeah.
went back to Boston, studied opera, came back, studied with Warren. Then he said we should all move to New York, all serious musicians. And me and my then boyfriend, who's now the trumpeter with Woody Allen, Simon Wettenhall, we got in our car and, with the old funky car and drove across the country. Only we had to stop in Minneapolis, where I became a short order cook, played bluegrass guitar, and served people to make money. And then he was like helping put up the museum, the Minneapolis Museum artwork, And then a few months later, we made enough money to get to New York, and
Wow.
where we recorded our album. We had an album deal to make an LP, so we recorded with Warren and Eddie Gomez. And
Oh.
this drummer, Skipper Scott, who was a student of Lennie Tristano. And actually, Lennie wanted me to record with Connie Crothers, who was a wonderful free jazz piano player who did some recordings with Jay as well. And I met Connie, and she was playing so far out. I was like 23 years old. I couldn't find my way through any tune we played or hear how it related to the tune, But I was so afraid of letting Lennie down, Warren had presented me to Lennie Tristano as like, here's my jewel, here's my singer, the first singer I ever taught. And here she is. And Lennie was like, yum, yum, come on. And you must play with my student, Connie. But anyway, I finally said, well, I've decided not to use any chordal instrument. So I didn't have any chords at all. I had trumpet, bass, drums, and sax on my first album. You can imagine how many copies that sold. But it was art. It was art.
See, that's what I mean, like New York, right? That's what you think of New York. Has a lot of that, but maybe not.
Oh, I think it has a lot of that more free stuff. I mean, this was not free. This was standards, but there were no chords being played. So it was pretty unusual for a vocal album, Plus, I was doing things mostly in the original keys because I had just come off of studying coloratura opera at New England. And I could, it wasn't that, I didn't think about whether it sounded like jazz. I was just like, this lovely day will lengthen into evening. I look back on it on myself with love and forgiveness and humor.
That's nice. Okay, I have a good let's see. This is a good question. From Taylor. He has great question. I'm not sure if Judy ever thinks about this, but in what ways have you worked on avoiding comparing yourself to other singers and even just relying on the self to be true to your own artistic identity? Good question.
Since I started out so early on this blazing path for musical greatness, which meant finding my own voice and being myself. I feel like, I did every kind of music, and then I settled on, well, should I be an opera singer or go into improvisation, which nobody was doing back then. And so I developed my voice as an instrument, and then I got more and more into improv and singing jazz. And I never was tempted to copy other people. I didn't want to sound like Billy or Ella. I really avoided that. Or Sarah, although now I use some of those sounds for fun and to help singers open up or loosen up or find twang or whatever. I have nothing against sounding like those guys sometimes, but I feel like I did find my own voice, and comparing myself to other singers, I just wanted to be the best that I could and to do my own thing at a super high level. And I did it. So I don't feel bad comparing myself artistically. I might feel bad comparing myself in terms of being successful or being known. And so it's more a question of, it's more like going like, wow, why don't people know me? So that's another area where you can compare with other people and it can mess you up. So I have to work on that consciously. And I hope that didn't sound totally egotistical. I just have to say that was my
Yeah,
goal for my whole life, and I've
yeah,
done my goal. I haven't
yeah,
had a family, and I'm living by myself. I mean, I'm living with friends,
yeah,
and so I
yeah,
haven't done other things, but
yeah.
I've focused on musical excellence. And yeah, so comparing myself,
I
it would
think,
only be
yeah,
in terms of success.
no, I think that's great. And Taylor, he's a young man and he's 27, I found out. But and he was just at school surrounded by a lot of brilliant musicians, and so he definitely wonders about that, and asks about that, how people handle that stuff, and
I
even
think
just
it's
like
harder on guitar.
I think
It's
so
really hard on
too.
guitar to find your own sound. You want to have your own sound, you want to have your own style, you want to have your own harmonic language, all these, I mean, and there's so many Kurt Rosenwinkel clones, or Peter Bernstein, or so, and I was married to a guitarist for 23 years. So I know a bit
Yeah,
about the guitar player's plight, and
yeah,
my sympathy
yeah,
goes out
yeah,
to you. It's
yeah,
easier on voice. You have to struggle to to find your sound, but we all have a very clear, different sound on voice.
yeah, yeah. I remember this is kind of related, but not really. But I remember just being amazed that all these old, great guitar players come together, and one says, "I just found this new voicing," and I'm like, "Really? After 70 years, you just found a new voicing? Oh my God,
Great. Hey, you have Dave and Larry Kuntz out there, right? That
Yeah.
must be fun.
Yes. Dave isn't really playing anymore, but
Okay.
one time I did a gig with Dave and Larry. That's it. And it just killed me. It was so great because they were so from the same universe, which just blew my mind. It was great. But yeah, he's actually, I was just kind of a co-engineer, I guess you could call me, on, you probably know her, but Larry and Michelle Nicole, do you know her?
Oh, of course. From I know her from Finland.
Oh,
Every two
yeah,
years we all get together in a big
right.
vocal jazz convention.
That's something I want to come to. When
Oh,
is it
you have to
happening
come.
next?
It's amazing.
When will it happen next?
Not this year, 2026, in like early November.
Early November. I have to write that down so I'll remember. Early
I want to
November.
go to the one by shoot. The one in Virginia that just happened in June by Alexis
Oh,
Cole.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Michelle
heard
went to
that.
that actually, and she said it was fun. I haven't been, and Alex is she's great. She's so smart and good. Um, but Michelle and Larry did this stunning duo record. It's just what a joy to be there listening, and just really
She
good.
is beautiful, a beautiful singer. I really love her, and a beautiful person.
Beautiful. Yeah, really nice person. Um, what was I gonna say about that last part? Oh, and even to expand on that, how do you work on getting yourself unstuck when you face a creative barrier or rut?
Oh,
One thing is let it go, to quote Jay.
right,
But
right.
if you can bring yourself to let go of the and Kenny Werner talks about this in his second book. Let go of the desire, need, obsession, whatever it is, to come out with something good. Just get into the creativity of it. I read in a book that creativity is curiosity, which is great, right? You get curious about something, and that's creativity.
Yeah, I mean, there have been very few times when I've been stuck musically. There's always something that leads me on. But I've gotten stuck because of emotional things, deaths, illnesses in my life, whatever, heartbreaks. And that is another thing. So I think he's talking about musically stuck, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think your advice is very good.
Yeah.
Let it go. Focus on something else for a while.
Let it go. We're getting to the end. So is there something you want to share with people that we haven't touched on?
I just feel that we are in a very powerful position as musicians. And as we spoke about a bit during this conversation, just making music at the high level of high vibration and high sensitivity, listening, responding, harmonizing, letting go of ego, letting what happens happen, come through you. That's another way to get unstuck. Let it come through you. Don't attach your being to it. It is a sound and a wave and a melody. This is all really a healing for the planet, for the people. And I think we have a power there that we can glorify and use to help things somehow. I mean, there's so much bad news, and I'm very aware of it. I read the Times every day, so I know all the stuff that's happening, at least from whatever news source I have, but to believe in the power of this magical music that we get to make, which is all about interaction, support of one another, sensitivity, expression, and just to keep doing it and believing that you're doing something valuable for the world. I think I just wanted to talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, talking about value and also mentioning how do you make yourself satisfied with the fact that, there are 10 people in the audience instead of 50?
Right.
Or, all those things that you're not selling your CDs and someone else is selling 100 at their gig, stuff like that. So the value, and I don't think it's a lie. I don't think I refocus on what I think is valuable is what you just said. It's we're actually responsible. That's one thing by doing these shows all through the pandemic. I actually felt a lot of, we're all over the planet. We're doing stuff all the time. If it wasn't for us, the planet would be a spinning ball of dirt. We're actually balancing out things. And in another science fiction lifetime, maybe we would actually be revered for all this, for our jobs, our capabilities and our jobs of being empaths and showing how to fix the planet and healing the planet and, all of those things, bringing up creativity for everybody. So, but yeah, it's a
Well, I'm thinking about a conversation I had with Kurt when he first started at the school, Kurt Rosenwinkel, and I had done an album, and I know I was about to do an album, and I was, thinking about, oh, well, is this going to appeal to anybody, and how can I, package it with a concept, or what should I do? And we were just talking, and he was just like, what we talked about earlier. He said, I don't know. I just try to make the music that I really like, And it was like, oh yeah, right. And he's also like very, very positive and convinced that every second that he's playing is like the shit, that's what he should be doing, and that is going to save the world. And I feel like that belief in oneself finding that. So that was what the hours and hours of practice were for me, and through Warne also, finding myself, finding my identity and my vibration in my body, who I am, and loving that. So that's the tricky part, loving it and loving your sound and loving yourself for even through your mistakes, and passing along that love, even self-love in that way, like forgiving yourself. If so, like you play a wrong note and then you're going to go like, oh, no, I'm all fucked up. Or you're going to just go, oh, so now here we are here, you know, all that is taught you in jazz, right? And I feel like all that kind of being in the moment and loving yourself and being able to love everybody else, even if there are only 10 of them, to envelop them in your love is the way.
Very well put. Now it makes me want to go hear Kurt again. Taylor said pleasure to meet you, and so
thank you. Nice to be here with everybody, and thank you so much for inviting me again. I invited myself, actually.
You did, but I was so glad, actually, because it's been a minute, so we caught up.
Like, I want to have really another interview. And great to talk with you.
Thank you. You too. Nice to see you and hear what's going on, hear about all the great music.
I wish I'd be here when you'll be here, but I'll send you my contacts, and
okay.
You'll have a great time, and I'll see you in LA.
Cool. Great. We'll start planning in the next few months.
Great.
And next week, I've been doing Mondays again. So next week, Jeff Stradling, who's a charming, brilliant composer, arranger guy in LA and very successful. And Jeff Stradling. So I'll be looking forward to speaking with him. I think what I'm going to do is, if you don't mind me putting it in at the end of our thing, I'm going to put in my latest music video, which literally I just posted yesterday. And it's a song from my new record. So I have my Social Anthems record, which has 7 songs on it, one of which is Inner City Blues, which actually during the pandemic, I actually made a little music video for that. And, but then, so the record just came out because it took a few years, catching up. And the engineer took that song and he remixed it like kind of like a dance tune. And
I listened to it tonight. Is that the version that you sent me?
That I just did I send it to you?
You sent me a link.
Yeah, I think so. I think I did.
Yeah. It sounded very produced in a very danceable way.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if it's your typical dance club stuff, but I don't know what, I can't term, names of stuff, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to put that on because it also speaks to a lot of what we were speaking about.
The subject. Great. A spiritual song. Woohoo.
Exactly. So thank you, Judy Niemack.
You're welcome, Cathy Segal-Garcia.
Really appreciate it. It was really fun. Really fun. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Here's the song. Actually, you know what? I think it's on YouTube, which I think is a better version.
Okay.
Let me go to YouTube and YouTube Studio, and here we go. This is content and remix. Here we are, and I just want to go here. Here we go.
Oh, great cover.
motivation, no chance to increase finance. Little smile up sky high, send that boy off to die. Make me wanna over the way they do my life. Make me wanna over the way they do my life. Hang-ups, letdowns, bad breaks and setbacks, natural factors. Honey, that I can't pay my taxes, so makes me wanna holler. In trouble for my hands, yes, it makes me wanna holler and throw up on my head. Yeah, 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 yeah. Crimings and greasy, trigger happy police, panic is spreading. God knows where we're heading. Oh, makes me wanna holler. They don't understand. Makes me wanna holler. They don't understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Make me wanna holler. That's it. That's it. Make me wanna holler. Yeah. Make me wanna holler. Make me wanna
All right.
Cool. Nice work.
Thank you. Whoops. Okay. Thanks. All right.
See you on
Have
the rebound.
have a great rest of the evening.
Yeah, I'll be in bed soon. A little bit of Breaking Bad. I finally watched that.
Enjoy. All
See you
right.
later. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again.
Bye, everybody. Hope you have a good day.